Hernandez. Tony, the question of the hour. He's got some fans here at the porch. He's taking your calls. Tony, why are you doing this? This is a tough race.
Well, first of all, I was born and raised in St. Paul, Minnesota, so I'm from this area.
I like St. Paul. I
Love
like
it.
St. Paul.
Have a lot of friends and family in this area, and truly the reason why I'm running is because I care about the people and the families in this district. I want to make sure that for our seniors we maintain our Medicare and Social Security requirements, and also for our veterans that we're honoring them, and for our students and for our next generation like Gabby who was just here, we need to make sure that we have just as many career and job opportunities for them as we had growing up here in America.
Well, and speaking of growing up, I understand you're the oldest of 7 brothers and sisters, and you have 64 first cousins?
That's true. I like to say that I'm 50% Irish, 50% Hispanic, and 100% American, and you can see by the number of people in our family that I also have a strong Catholic upbringing as well.
I was going to say, are you Catholic? That's kind of the old joke, right? Well, so what have you learned on the campaign trail? Because, we don't have to mince words. It's an uphill battle running against this incumbent.
There's no doubt that St. Paul is a very strong DFL area, and I've done a lot of campaigning. We've been doing grassroots, going door to door, community events, talking to a lot of business owners and seniors, and really what I keep hearing over and over again are people are telling me that, hey, if we send you to Congress, we want you to work together with both Democrats and Republicans and independents to get things done, to fix our economy, to solve the fiscal crisis that's going on, and get Americans working again. They're tired of the extreme partisanship that is really creating a lot of gridlock, and I believe stalling our economic growth right here at home.
Let's talk about that partisanship, because it doesn't matter where you are politically. I think we all, as Americans, agree. It's just such a so many road barriers in D.C. It doesn't seem like anything's getting done. I'm guessing you watched the Republican National Convention.
Parts of it.
Okay, parts of it. Did you see the Clint Eastwood speech?
I did.
A little weird?
It was odd, to say the least.
Okay. All right. Did you have any favorites at the convention from what you watched?
I think that Senator Marco Rubio, for me, because he's young, he's Hispanic, he's principled, and really...
You guys kind of look like cousins.
We may be. It's somewhere far back in our Spanish ancestry, but, he really offers a vision for America that resonates within myself. It's one of individual liberty, limited constitutional government, giving a lot of the roles to our states to ensure the safety net for our seniors and for our most vulnerable, and really getting our economy vibrant and competitive and people working again. I mean, he, to me, embodies all of that, the American spirit, especially he's an immigrant from Cuba. So he's seen firsthand kind of the end results of big government and tyrannical control over the economy and socialism. And so he came here to America to really, he embraces this idea of entrepreneurialism and being who you want to be in the American dream. And so for me, that's right on.
Well, the predictions when the 2010 census was taken was that by the next census, the majority white American actually will be the minority, and the minority cultures will be the majority. And you being Hispanic, I'm Asian. I mean, what are your thoughts about that as you're out campaigning, and how do you see that changing the fabric of Minnesota, the fabric of the U.S.?
Sure. Well, you see it, when I go campaigning door to door, people see my last name Hernandez, and they're very shocked or surprised to hear that I won the Republican primary, because there's a lot of stereotypes about what being a conservative or Republican is, and a lot of people think it's the party of the old white, rich, bald guy. And in a lot of ways, I have to fight against those stereotypes and really rebuild this image, or rebuild the brand. Because
even though there is nothing wrong with bald guys.
No, absolutely. If you see Dallas, he helps with our campaign. He's kind of bald right there. So, but no, there's nothing wrong with that. But there is something to be said, though. The Republican or conservative libertarians have lost so much ground in the metro area, especially in St. Paul, that we're really going against these negative stereotypes about who we are or what we should be. And so we have to defy that at any level.
All right, we're speaking with Tony Hernandez on News and Views. He is the GOP candidate in the 4th, running against Representative Betty McCollum. And Greg is calling from St. Paul. Good afternoon, Greg.
Roshini, you're doing a great job out there having fun at the fair.
Thank you.
Hey, I'd like to ask Tony Hernandez, where he's different than this Representative McCollum. She's back to the war in Afghanistan. She's tried to levy a tax, even to additional tax to pay for the war when she was on the Appropriations Committee with Representative Obey. And I haven't heard you, Tony, talk much about your position on Afghanistan. What do you think we should do?
Sure. First and foremost, we've been in Afghanistan for quite some time. I think we need to honor our troops and respect the service that they gave there. They accomplished the mission, in my viewpoint, a long time ago by kicking the Taliban out and kicking Al-Qaeda out from Afghanistan. We've been there for 12 years. The suicide rates for our servicemen and women are at all-time highs. I think that we need to bring our troops home, and I don't think we need to delay. I don't think we need a strategic plan. I think we simply need to bring our troops home from Afghanistan. Other ways that I do differ from Representative McCollum is, I look at myself as more of a moderate person that wants to work together with both parties to get things done. And if you examine Representative McCollum's record, she's got a long history of being very partisan on very important issues. If you look at the Stillwater Bridge, Representative McCollum was the only one in Minnesota, it seemed like. Even Governor Dayton and Senator Klobuchar wanted this bridge to be built for the people of Stillwater and Wisconsin, and Representative McCollum held building of the bridge up, and she's still continuing to keep that position today, despite overwhelming amounts of people that want this bridge to be built. It's good for the economy, it's good for the local businesses there. And another issue is with the budget. I think the budget is a very important indicator of our economy. One thing that I've noticed talking to the business people in St. Paul and the surrounding areas is there's an incredible amount of uncertainty right now. And I believe a lot of the uncertainty is coming from Washington, D.C. It's coming from the extreme partisanship in Congress, not being able to get a budget passed, simply lifting the debt ceiling every time that the debt debate comes up. And there seems to be no real tough solutions being brought forth. And so I would want to go to Congress, if I'm honored enough to be elected by the people of the 4th District here, to go there to work together, to get past this R versus D or Republican versus Democrat ideology and just get back to the nuts and the bolts of the economy, get things back on track so that people are working again, making money, saving money, and confident about our future, because really that's what's at stake here, ladies and gentlemen. It's the national debt. It's kicking the can down the road, and if we don't get people in Congress that are serious about solving our economy, fixing the economy, it's the future generations that are going to suffer, and they're going to suffer from less individual freedom, less career opportunities, and they're going to have more debt.
Tony, this is your opportunity on News and Views to really help our listeners know who you are. Mm-hmm. What do you want to tell our listeners and the voters out there that what differentiates you? What do you bring to the table for the people of Minnesota?
Well, I'm not a rich man by no means. I'm married to my wife, Leona, and she's working right now. She's a pediatric ICU nurse over at the University of Minnesota Children's Amplatz. We're both very caring people, and we really care about the people in this district. My background is in finance, so I worked for a large bank for a number of years, and I'd probably still be working there right now, but I had a life-changing moment at one point. Somebody threw a 12-pound rock from a bridge, and I was in a car going 75 miles an hour underneath the bridge, and it came through, and it hit me right here on the right side of my abdomen, and it caused an immense amount of pain, and I thought somebody had shot me, and long story short is I survived, and I'm completely recovered now, but it changed my path. And one of the things that I learned, because I was making quite a bit of money in the banking industry, when I got hurt, I became too weak to work, and I lost a lot of the things I'd worked so hard to build up for. And it was at the same time of the financial collapse, if you remember, of 2008. And it was Representative McCollum's vote for the bank bailouts, the corporate bailouts, which she still stands by today, that really rubbed me the wrong way, because as somebody who had worked so hard and built up a relatively good amount of wealth at such an early age and then lost it, to hear this idea of too big to fail, that they were going to use our taxpayer money to bail out the same fat cat banks that are destroying our real estate economy and everything else right now, it just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't believe in too big to fail. I still don't, and that being said, I'm highly involved in my community. I'm a basketball coach at St. Mark's. We won the CAA St. Paul Championship in 2011. I umpire baseball. I've worked in the private sector my whole life. I've painted houses, and I'm a proud member of the middle class. And I think that that's an important thing, is I'm not separate from the people that live in our district. I live right there with everybody, and so I know what the pains are that people are feeling. I know the uncertainty that people are feeling. And I also have that strong yearning that I think a lot of people are looking for, is leadership. And that doesn't mean doing what's popular or doing what's the most advocated position, but it's doing what's right. And sometimes what's right is not popular, and that's what I intend to do, is do the right things if I'm elected to the United States Congress.
All right. Well, Tony Hernandez, 4th District GOP candidate running against Representative Betty McCollum. You admit it's an uphill battle, but it is great to meet you today, and,
Thank you.
and great to get our listeners to find out a little bit more about who you are. Good luck out there on the campaign trail, and thank you so much for joining me on the porch today at the
Thanks for
State
having
Fair.
me too, Roshini. I appreciate it. It's great to be at the State Fair. Thank you, everybody. May God bless America.
Right, and we definitely have a rambunctious, fun studio audience out here. If you're at the State Fair, come see us at the porch. You're listening to News and Views. We're going to be back with